you all for coming here with us today. But obviously, I want to try to make sure that I'm not blocking the guest of honor behind us. Back here in its berth, the Ernestina. How about a nice welcome and round of applause for our official vessel of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ed Lambert, the Commissioner of the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and it's great to be here with all of you today to celebrate the return to this berth of the Ernestina. As I like to say, sometimes with age, a facelift is a little necessary. And our great schooner has gotten a bit of a facelift across in Fairhaven at Kelly's Boatyard. As with any little surgery comes a little swelling, so she is a little swelling today, but she's feeling well and doing very well and performing very well. And we're very, very pleased to not only have her back in ship-shape condition, but also here at the Port of New Bedford, where the Ernestina is a great symbol of culture and history and industry from this community, and it's where it's been a great marriage between our state agency at DCR, the City of New Bedford, the folks here at the Pier, our partners on the Commission, and our other friends groups. We are very, very grateful for everyone's help and presence, and really so many people who played a hand in bringing her back to port. I want to talk a little bit today about the work that was done and also what we hope and expect the next steps will be. But I'd like to bring some folks forward first to issue their own remarks, beginning with my good friend, the mayor of this great city of New Bedford, Scott Lang. Mayor?
I want to welcome you all to New Bedford if you don't hail from New Bedford, and tell you that we always like to see people from throughout the state and region coming to New Bedford. One of the reasons that we feel that New Bedford is the appropriate place for the Ernestina is because so many of our communities have adopted the vessel as their own, and it's a vessel that serves so many different purposes during its career. And each one of our communities in this area, whether it happens to be the Cape Verdean community or the Irish American community, it happens to be people from Nova Scotia, Navy personnel, at one point or another, the Ernestina has seen tremendous service to all those different communities in many, many ways. We know that the city learned a very good lesson with the Morgan, and we know that the Morgan is doing extremely well and is undergoing its own overhaul right now, and we expect to see it back in the city in the near future. But the fact is, in order to preserve a vessel, a seagoing vessel, it takes an awful lot of time, effort, care, and love. I want to thank the Ernestina Commission for putting in that time, effort, care, and love. The energy that they display on a year-round basis, whether it's at an event today or whether it's different fundraising at the working waterfront or up at the State House, is something that will maintain this vessel. The real key, though, to the Ernestina now is figuring out the riddle as to how we have its complete overhaul, not doing it incrementally, but have its complete overhaul, and then enter a maintenance program. But right now, what we're doing is entering a maintenance program without a complete overhaul, and we're looking for a way to resolve that. I want to point out to you, I know we have Jen Nersessian, who is our park superintendent here, but I want to point out an inspiration to me. This past weekend, the Ernestina was sitting out at dry dock across the harbor, and just a beautiful, beautiful, sleek water line. It's very interesting. When you see a boat out of the water, you understand how beautiful the Ernestina is, and just has these classic lines, just a classic cutter type of a line. When you see a vessel like the Morgan, which was a whaling vessel, you see that it really was a floating warehouse. But the Ernestina was built to ride through, cut through the water in a very elegant way. The Ernestina was out at the dry dock this weekend, and next to it, I believe, is called the Freedom of Salem, which is a three-masted windjammer, a clipper ship that was built in the last couple of decades. It hails out of Salem. It's a tremendous tourist attraction. It is a replica. It is authentic as a replica, but it is not an original sailing vessel. And the fact is, steel hull. The fact is that it has some great appointments. It's something that will inspire, catch the children's imagination. When I saw the mayor this week, I believe on Wednesday, after seeing the vessel out on seeing the Freedom of Salem at Kelly's over the weekend, I asked her, how can your community afford the Freedom of Salem? It's a gorgeous ship. You know, what goes into maintaining that? And she said, the National Park Service pays for it. And I said, you know, that's exactly what we want to happen with the Ernestina. And the Ernestina is real. And the Ernestina is absolutely not a replica. And if the National Park Service could figure out a way to build a clipper ship, then we want to get down to Washington and explain why this is an opportunity that they will never regret. This is an opportunity to not only preserve a piece of our nation's history, educate, capture our kids, bring about recreational and educational opportunities, but also something that the National Park Service, just as it preserves tremendous parkland around the country, preserves our national whaling park, whether it's the Liberty Bell, the Statue of Liberty, wherever you might go, the Ernestina fits in that category. So we're going to work extremely hard, broad-based partnership. We're going to go back again to Congress and see if we can't have them begin to focus on a national treasure and heirloom that we want to pass on to future generations. The other thing is, I just want to say in closing, I know we couldn't have a better friend than Commissioner Lambert. And I know that he is absolutely committed to doing everything he can. The Ernestina never looked so good, but it really is just a facelift. And we know that that aging process needs a complete overhaul in order for us to be able to assure our future generations that the Ernestina will be here floating. So I know Ed will work extremely hard to make sure this comes about. I have complete faith in that. So I want to thank everyone for all their hard work on this, and I pledge to you that we will figure out the riddle of the financial sustainability of the Ernestina. So thank you very much.
Mayor, thank you very much, and thanks for joining us today. I know that you also have another commitment that you need to get out to, but we appreciate your support and the support of the city in this endeavor. Before I introduce some of our state elected officials from the great legislative delegation here to say a few words, let me just kind of fill in a couple of the facts. The ship got back on Wednesday, I believe. We expended approximately $183,000, replacing a couple of dozen of the planks, doing some work while it was out so that we could ensure Coast Guard certification so we could have it back here at the pier and ready to resume its place as a Coast Guard certified attraction. And we believe that we have accomplished that, and we're very pleased with that. I particularly want to thank the Schooner Ernestina Morrissey Association for their support as well, as we have a mast replacement project that could not have been contemplated without their help and support. And we're very, very appreciative of the work that they've done and that they continue to do to advance the cause of preserving the Ernestina and preserving it as such a great historical symbol for us. The mission of our agency, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, is to protect, promote, and enhance our commonwealth of natural, cultural, and recreational resources. And here in this state, we truly are blessed with a common wealth. And this is one of our great assets. The Ernestina reminds us who we are. It reminds us of the importance of the trade that has been plied out of these waters. It reminds us of the importance of our relationship with Cape Verde, as this is a very special gift that commemorates that relationship, particularly with those people and working families who live in this area. And there are so many reasons why it's an important asset of DCR and how we want to continue to try to work with partners to make sure that it continues to be. And so the work that has been done, as the mayor has alluded to, has brought us to a certain point. But there is still more that we want to do. And while it was out of the water, the agency has been involved in a process of acquiring the services of a shipwright to perform a study and analysis for us to help us make decisions going forward, to help make some determinations about what the long-term future of the ship is and what type of capital investments would need to be made, either to get it ready to sail once again, or what our options might be and what those costs might be so that we can quantify them and make the hard decisions that are necessary to be made. Working with SEMA, working with the Commission, with the National Park Service, with our local legislators and others, we are committed to not just letting this go, but to try to find, as the mayor said, an answer to the riddle. How do we resolve, particularly in tight fiscal times, the fiscal challenges necessary to ensure that we preserve this asset the way we feel it needs to be preserved? Our agency while it has been stretched thin, has been blessed with some incredible legislative support. And I want to single out for thanks today the delegation here in the New Bedford, who have helped support not only our efforts with the Ernestina, but with the agency's efforts statewide. And we're very, very grateful for that support. And so I'd like to bring forward to say a few words, members of the delegation, beginning with Representative Tony Cabral.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Lambert. It's great to have the Commissioner with us. He's a great partner. He really understands the mission of the Ernestina, and he understands how hard all of us have been working to make sure the Ernestina stays not only alive, if you will, but also gets completely rehabbed and becomes certified by the Coast Guard again. Special thank you to the Ernestina Commission and to SEMA, the good friends of the Ernestina and the community at large. This has been a struggle. This has been a fight. But struggles comes with dreams as well. And the dreams that this community has for the Ernestina will come to reality. I can tell you that. We have never given up on the Ernestina. Every year we debate, and during the budget debate, we always have a big discussion around this particular vessel. And I know that DCI is the right place for the Ernestina. They are committed as well, and the new commissioner certainly understands it very clearly. I think one of the missing partners, and I hope we will change that, has been the federal government. Because the Ernestina, if you remember, if you go back to our fight to designate the Wheeling Historical District and this area as the national park, the Ernestina was instrumental in us securing that designation. The Ernestina was part of that effort, was part of the paperwork that was submitted and was used by Congress. If you don't believe me, ask Congressman Frank. He was instrumental in making sure at that time that the Ernestina was a part of that and was one of the vessels and one of the historical symbols that really helped us create the national park as well. So I think it's important, as the mayor said, to really get the federal government to be a full partner with us. Don't forget, initially the gift from the Cape Verdean government, or the Republic of Cape Verde, was to the federal government. It was given to the federal government, and in turn, the federal government gave it to Massachusetts. So, and we have a witness here. Tom Lopes was instrumental in that. He was a state legislator at the time, and he was one of the authors of the original legislation that was that governed the Ernestina. We changed that in 1992. That's what the governance that we have now was changed in '92, and I think it then put it in at DCI, which I think is the right place. So I welcome the National Park Services. They've been wonderful partners with us since they've been here, and I know they believe the way we believe that the Ernestina, that the federal government has a role to play in terms of funding, in terms of restoring the Ernestina, in order to us to keep the integrity of the national park. So thank you very much, and let's not give up. The struggle is almost there. I mean, the dream is coming true. It's only another couple $1 million, okay? All right, thank you.
Representative, thank you. And now I'd like to bring forward someone who I had the pleasure of joining the legislature with at the same time many years ago. He's aged much better than I have, but Representative Bob Kucera.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to start by acknowledging and complimenting Commissioner Lambert and his agency and the Environmental Secretariat for their efforts in maintaining the schooner Ernestina. And the schooner Ernestina is a historical and cultural asset to the Commonwealth. And in that respect, it's important that we continue the efforts that have begun, and I'm glad to see that under this administration, we have seen a more active involvement in maintaining this asset to the Commonwealth. I'd also like to recognize and acknowledge and compliment the members of the Schooner Ernestina Commission for the work that they do of keeping us informed and making sure that this asset is given the kind of attention it needs to continue to play what will be a vital role to the history of this seaport and to the Cape Verdean people and people of Cape Verdean ancestry. And finally, to join with what the mayor has said and what my colleague Representative Cabral has said, is that part of the designation of this city as a national whaling park came with the mention of the schooner Morrissey Ernestina in this port. And we would welcome a collaborative approach that includes state and federal and even private sector for the future maintenance of this cultural and historical asset. So I'm pleased with what we have accomplished here this morning and what I hope we will accomplish in the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I also want to ask you to help me welcome the newest member of this delegation, who I want to, on behalf of not only the agency, but with all of you, on behalf of the region, welcome and look forward to her participation in supporting this effort going forward. Representative Keiko Oral. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here with us today. And I want to also introduce, just to wave, from the Seaport Council, Executive Director Louis Elisa, who's here with us today. All of the DCR staff that's here, our Deputy Commissioner Jack Murray, Don Matinzi, our Acting Regional Director, all of the staff from here at the Pier, and everyone else. This is a great agency. I'm very, very fortunate to be part of it, and I thank Governor and Lieutenant Governor for their support of this agency as well. And last but not least, I get a chance to formally introduce in public the two newest members of the Ernestina Commission, Eugene Montero and Fred Sterner, both of whom I believe are here. So if you guys would, thank you very, very much. And you know, we're introducing them as new members, but they're certainly not new to this effort. And we're very, very appreciative to have them formally appointed and welcome them. And now, as I've saved for last, a very important partner. You've heard the word collaboration here a number of times, and that's because it's going to take a village, an entire village, to see this goal through to fruition. And the Ernestina Commission, appointed initially back in 1979, have really been great stewards of ensuring that the Ernestina is not only not forgotten, but is promoted as much as possible. And their chair, Jen Nassarian, is here with us today, and I'd like to ask Jen if she'd come forward.
Well, as you can see, I'm wearing two hats here today. So on behalf of the Ernestina Commission, I would like to sincerely thank the Department of Conservation and Recreation for the efforts they've put into this latest round of repairs and restoration work on the Ernestina. The Commission has been struggling for the past few years to find this commitment from the state, and we're very, very encouraged and appreciative to see, under the leadership of Commissioner Lambert, steps moving forward in this direction. This was a very important work that just took place, and a very important promise for the future. Speaking to the commitment of the state and seeing that Ernestina not only gets the necessary repairs she needs right now, but in doing the cost estimate, setting the stage so that we can move and work towards that future restoration that will bring her back to her full glory as she deserves. I also, as the chair of the commission, would like to welcome Fred Sterner and Jean Montero onto the commission. Another piece of the puzzle that will help move Ernestina forward, getting the commission fully staffed up and fully able to engage in the important work that needs to be done. Another piece is looking at SEMA, and under the guidance of Mary Ann McQuillan and Julius Brito, seeing the progress and the momentum they've built over the past couple of years. And this is, again, that private and community partnership that we're going to need to move Ernestina forward. On behalf of the National Park Service, I'm also superintendent of New Bedford Whaling National Historical Park here in New Bedford. I'd also like to just remind everybody that the Ernestina is a part of a national park, that she's so important to our local community. She's so iconic in the history of New Bedford in terms of both her maritime history and her cultural history. She's so important to the people of Massachusetts as the state vessel of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But she's also important on a national stage. She's a national historic landmark on her own and part of a national park. And this is because the history that she exemplifies, what she represents, the physical connection that this gives us to our past is something that is part of our collective memory as a people and that we need to preserve. Just to speak to a second to the comments that were brought up regarding the federal government, I'll just say to those that, the National Park Service is committed in the capacity that we are able, the rights we've been legislatively given, to doing whatever we can to see that Ernestina is preserved. And that to move beyond that, if people want to see action from Washington, it's going to have to start here. Nobody in Washington is going to, pull Ernestina off a list and decide, randomly to give it funding. It's going to take a strong, united, committed, grassroots front. People need to make their voices heard. So if that's what you want, I would encourage you to do just that. Make your voices heard and show the commitment that we have right here to Ernestina to make it happen. Thank you very much.
Jen, thank you very much. And I'd be remiss, too, if I didn't mention Congressman Frank, who just in my brief time already as commissioner has spoken to me several times about the Ernestina and how important he sees it as well. So the next steps are that we are going to anticipate the completion of the report that we've commissioned, which we hope sometime in the next 3 or 4 weeks will be produced for us. The agency will take that information. We will sit with our partners. We will share it with our partners and this community so that we can have the conversation that we think leads to the solutions that are necessary. There are multiple, including multiple funding sources to the extent that we can try to put that together. That may include public, that may include private, that may include some creative ways in which we might be able to move forward. One of the things that DCR, with our delegation, managed to do this year was at least give the agency the flexibility to consider the Ernestina as part of our historic curatorship program, where we have been able to take a number of our DCR properties across the state and enter into 25-year arrangements with either private or nonprofit parties that keep public access, that keep assets where they are, and allow them to be open to the public, but also allow for a capital investment in a way that sometimes government doesn't have the flexibility to provide. That is one of a number of options that we might be able to look at, and I think that we're looking forward to those discussions going forward. So we certainly embrace all potential options, and I think, as all the speakers here previously have said, we're here today to show our importance. If we're going to convince others that it's important for us to be here as well. So as a commissioner who values the mission of this agency, and also as a resident of the South Coast, I understand how important this project is, and we're going to continue to advance its cause. Thank you all very, very much for being here today.